What's going on, everybody? Today I'm joined by my guy, Kurt Holobaugh. Kurt, how's it going, man?
What's going on, man? Doing well.
Doing well. Nice. You finally get home and settle down a little bit.
Yeah, for sure, man. It was a long process to be honest with you. From going on the Ultimate Fighter show, doing the whole show, and then coming home and having to keep everything under wraps, and then having to rewatch or relive kind of that sequence out again throughout the show, coming on every week, and then leading up to the finale was a little bit exhausting, but at the same time, I kind of miss it now.
Kurt, you before we get into any of that, I was gonna ask you real quick. I saw you went to a jelly roll concert. How was that?
Oh man, that was one of the coolest things I ever went to, man. Such a cool dude. Got to meet him, got to talk to him a little bit, hung out a little bit at his after party. And no, man, that's one of the coolest dudes I've ever met in my life.
Not just his music, but his story is what just makes him so cool. And I really do appreciate him and his music, especially my wife, my family, everybody loves him over here on this side for sure.
Yeah, same here, man. My wife, my mom, my sisters. I mean, everybody in my family or household loves Jelly Roll. Been listening to Jelly Roll for a while now. And it's weird because like I've listened to Jelly Roll for years, and then all of a sudden, boom, he blows up, and I'm like, damn, man, I've been listening to this guy for quite a while now. And then, but hey, good for him. Like I said, man, I got to meet him, one of the coolest dudes I've ever met in my life. Dude brings such good energy, always a happy guy, always has a smile on his face. Even during like his concerts, he's just always smiling, always happy, which is such a cool thing.
Glad you had fun, man. Let's get into the Ultimate Fighter a little bit. You were on Team Chandler, fighting as a lightweight. You've been in the UFC before, and you had a long process to get your way back. What was your thoughts and feelings on the Ultimate Fighter now that you lived that experience?
Man, I must have always underestimated the Ultimate Fighter. And of course, I knew, that would just be a tough road to get into the UFC, right? But I never knew what the Ultimate Fighter really would do for some of these guys, right? Because even a guy like me, man, I've been on the Contender Series. I headlined at the very first Dana White Tuesday Night Contender Series. I won the contract off of the Contender Series, and I still didn't get as popular as I did being on that show on the Ultimate Fighter. Now, would I have been as popular if I would have went out there and lost the fight against Lee Hammond? Maybe not. But being able to win that show is like now looking at it, and I've watched almost every single Ultimate Fighter to date, ever since the very first one in 2005. And I don't know if I've ever gave that show the credit it deserved. Now, I know as far as growing the sport, it's the best thing the UFC could ever did. But I never really, I don't know if I ever gave the guys on that show credit. You see a lot of the guys come out of the show and win championships or be very successful in the UFC. And I never knew that show could do so much for your career. But man, I feel like that show was a blessing for me, and it got me right back where I think I belong.
How was it being away? It doesn't seem all that long, right? But when you have a wife, you have kids, you have a family, it is kind of a long time. How was it being away from your family for that long?
Of course, it was hard. I'll be lying if I sit here and said it wasn't hard being away from my family for right around 6 weeks. But one of the things that made it really easy on me is I mentally prepared myself for all of that. I prepared myself for it to be the worst time of my life. The hardest thing of my life. So one thing that I did, and a lot of other guys in the house did it too. I just had a journal. So every night, or even throughout the day, I would just write in my journal like I was talking to my kids or like I was talking to my wife. And I would just tell them throughout the day, kind of keep track. That way, I give them something. I wrote to my wife, to my son, to my daughters, wrote to everybody, even my 3-year-old. I think I wrote my 3-year-old some messages. That way, man, I can just give this to them when I get back. They can read all about it. And at the same time, it was helping me out. It's almost like I was talking to them without talking to them. But at the same time, I knew that they were home. I knew my wife can handle everything. She's a beast. And so I really wasn't worried about it. I was there to do a job and try my best to have fun doing it.
Kurt, you were on Team Chandler. Michael Chandler seemed to have been there for his team throughout the entire show. Every part of the process, every scene of the show, from weigh-ins to fight night, you name it, he was there. Not to really say anything bad about Connor here, but, it didn't seem that way with Connor. How much can you appreciate that out of Michael Chandler, looking back, that he was there for you guys every step of the way?
No, man, Michael, one hell of a dude, one hell of a coach, man. Even though, and what's weird is he's never been a coach before. So this was his first time like being a coach and having to coach fighters, And then not only that, he's coaching fighters that have already been in the UFC, in his own weight class. So my hat's off to Mike, man. He was such a good coach, and he brought in amazing coaches as well for his coaching staff. And just the way that he treated us and helped us out, and was there for us foot in hand, was awesome. And I'm still so thankful to this day that I was able to get on Chandler's team.
There was a lot of good fights this season, tons. But you fought some dudes like Thiago Moises, Shane Burgos, a few other fights. You've had some great fights. You've been around a long time. Where do you rank your fight with Jason Knight? That was a war.
That one's up there, man, because I'm gonna tell you the truth. Me and Jason, we both said, we already knew the type of fighter each other was, right? We've been around each other for about 10, 11 years now. We were supposed to fight back in 2011, 2012. So that was a long time ago. And we already knew, man, if we ever fought, it was going to be a war. We both knew our fighting style. So going on to the show, me and him was like, especially after we both won, we're like, we need to fight each other, Jason. It needs to happen. Look, let's me and you campaign to fight each other. Let Austin and Rowe fight each other. Best man win, man. Let's go out there, give one of the most epic fights on the Ultimate Fighter ever. And he was like, you don't shoot a takedown, I don't shoot a takedown. I said, deal. Shook his hand. So, and that's why you got that type of fight, man.
Rowe, going back to Rowe and Hubbard, those two are pretty close, good friends. You could tell that, they both wanted to be in the UFC, but not at the cost of fighting each other, at least when the cage door closed. Did it put a lot of pressure on you and Jason, with you guys having a relationship, to go in there and put on that type of a fight with what had happened the previous week?
Man, not at all. And actually, that was on the same night. Rowe and Austin's fight, me and Jason fought the same night. That's how they did it. But no, man, it didn't put any pressure on us. We already knew what we was there to do. We was there to knock one or the other out. And I really think it was the same thing with Rowe and Austin. They were trying to knock each other out, but man, they respected each other a lot. And I think that's why you got that type of fight. Neither one of them could really let go because they didn't want to make that mistake. They didn't want to get caught. Rowe probably didn't want to get taken down because he knew how strong Austin was. Austin didn't want to really engage too much in the striking with Rowe because he knew how hard Rowe is and how fast Rowe is with his hands. So I think that's why you got that kind of a shutdown fight. And I think that's why that fight got criticized a little too much. But for me and Jason, we already knew, hey, man, I'm going out there. I'm going to try to knock you out. And then, you in return, I know you're going to try to knock me out. Best man wins.
Not the same deal on the Rowe and Hubbard fight that you and Jason Knight had. You guys were like, no shooting for takedowns. Let's meet in the middle of the cage and let's see who's going on to the finale.
For sure. And that was the exact conversation we had. And you can see on the show, we even talked about it. We're like, look, man, we're just going to, and we both had cuts. I got cut by Lee. He got cut in training. So, we really thought that we would be bleeding pretty bad. And crazy, neither one of those cuts even opened up in the fight. But yeah, still a great fight, great war. And man, I still talk to Jason till this day. We leave it all in the ring. We're still friends afterwards.
Let's get on to the Austin Hubbard fight, the finale. Big card in general that you guys were on. Big night for the UFC, you know, the Ultimate Fighter finale. You had you know, Aljo Sterling. You got it done against Austin Hubbard. You came into that fight, I believe, as the underdog.
Yep.
Did you think that, is there any doubt in your mind that Austin would be better than you on the ground? Because I don't think a lot of people thought you would even test it there, and that's where you got it done.
Right. So I don't think I thought that he would be better on the ground. I knew my submissions would be better, right? I knew my submissions would be better. I really thought that I could catch him in something. But Austin's a real anti-jiu-jitsu guy. He's got strong base, good wrestling, and that's what he's trying to do. And even whenever he takes a guy down, I don't think he's necessarily looking for the submission unless the submission is just going to fall into his lap. But he's looking to control and try to smash you at elbows or finish you off on the ground. And I think that's more of his style of fighting. And you can kind of see once he got the first takedown, man, he was trying to kill me with those elbows. He threw a lot into that, which I can kind of feel him wear down a little bit after he went so hard that first takedown. And then, you know, my whole goal in this fight, because I knew Austin would take me down. I knew I wouldn't be able to stop every one of his takedowns because, I mean, he's strong, he's big, he's a good wrestler. So my goal was to just get back to my feet, right? And I feel like I did that pretty well. You know, even after the first takedown, I let him throw, wind up, you know, getting back up, landed some good punches. I think he took me down again at the end of the first round. You know, I landed, got back up, and I was able to finish that round out strong. And I can feel myself starting to come on a little bit more with the power in my punches. And went back between rounds, man, never even thought about if I won or lost that first round, which of course I did lose the first round on all three judges' scorecards, but I never even thought about it. But my thought is I got him right where I wanted him, and I think this is going to be my round.
After a finish like that and going through that long show as the Ultimate Fighter finale winner, just, you know, you're like, this is supposed to be my moment. But after being in there with guys like Jason Knight and Austin Hubbard, do you think that, looking back at those fighters and being in there with them, do you think that they should be in the UFC as well?
100%. You know, 100%. And I know Austin will be in the UFC. I think he already is in the UFC. Because I'm sure he signed a contract, and they're not. Hopefully, they'll release him after one fight, which I don't think they would. But as far as Jason, I don't think he's gotten a call yet. I know all the guys are kind of by their phones waiting, right? Because I know they're all on like standby. So when the UFC needs them, the UFC is going to shoot them a call. Kind of like how Landon Canonius, right? A guy on the Ultimate Fighter, the guy that Jason Knight beat in under a minute, is fighting tomorrow night in Australia. So yeah, man, those guys, I know a lot of them just stand by their phones. They're being told just stay ready. I'm pretty confident most of those guys, if not all of them, will get their shot and get a phone call.
Now, I talked to Cody. I want to bring this fight up real quick before we move on. I talked to Cody Gibson after his fight with Katona as well. What a war that was. What do you think about that fight? And what do you think of Cody Gibson as your teammate and a fighter overall? You know, just the fight that he fought. That was, you know, he pushed the pace for 3 rounds on Katona. Katona did a great job as well, not taken away from him. But as your teammate, I just want to know what your thoughts are on Cody Gibson.
Yeah, man, Cody's an awesome guy. Such an awesome guy. Great teammate. You know, great friend in the house. You know, I got along with Cody really well. We talked a lot. We trained a lot. Really cool guy. We got a lot of similarities. You know, we're both around the same age. We both was in the UFC a while back. We both taken those big fights in the UFC. But yeah, awesome guy, man. And I'm not gonna lie, like watching Cody's fight really gave me a lot of motivation before my fight. Not that I wasn't motivated already, but you know, I can hear Cody's walkout song, and then I'm watching Cody, and man, and I like Cody a lot. He's such a cool dude, and watching him go out there and lay it all on the line, I'm like, yeah, you know, that was extra motivation for me. But yeah, man, I love Cody. He's an awesome guy.
Yeah, I would say.
And
Go ahead.
And he didn't get robbed in the fight. He lost the fight, right? But I think on my scorecards, he lost that fight in the third round. I don't know if Brad caught him, but I don't know if they thought he broke his jaw or his orbital, but I know something caught him like a little bit late in that third round,
It
and he
was
kind of
his
started to come
he broke his
backwards.
nose.
Broke his nose. Okay. So yeah, I knew he had something, and you can kind of tell he kind of shelled up a little bit. And I thought that's when Brad was able to edge out that third round because I thought it was 1-1 going into the third, and I thought Cody was winning the third round. But then the judges read the scorecard and they gave Brad like a 30-27, and I'm like, ain't no way
Yeah.
Brad went all 3 rounds.
Yeah, no way. And but despite all that, with them going to decision and putting on the fight that they had, no matter who won, I was happy that the UFC decided to give those guys the 50K bonus and both contracts. I think they're both well deserved.
Absolutely. I agree with that.
Kurt, I don't want to keep you too much longer, but
You good?
I'm gonna ask about a guy. He actually set this up. Tell me
Okay.
what Ryan Hamper has meant to you in your career. He's been an awesome guy to me, so I can only imagine what he's been to you for your career.
Yeah, man. Brian has been really good for my career because I'll tell you this story real quick. I was with another management company, before Brian and all that with Sucker Punch, and those guys got me to the UFC. So I really can't, and I would never say nothing bad about anybody, anyways. But after I got to the UFC, and I took some hard fights, I took a hard road, and you know, then once my deal and everything was up with them, I was kind of on my own, man, and I was fighting in Titan FC. And I want to say Brett Johns was managed by him, and he might still be managed by him. But I remember, one of my coaches was talking to him, and Brett Johns was telling him who his manager was. And we're like, yeah, man, I'll give you his info. So we hit him up, and they was gladly to take me in. And, since I remember the first day I signed with them, I had a fight scheduled for Titan, and they gave me a call, say, hey, man, you want to take this fight in the UFC? And I'm like, damn, that was fast. I just signed with the management team, and they already gave me back in the UFC. I didn't get the fight, so the fight never happened. I still had to win on Titan and, do what I did to get back. But, I'm thankful for all those guys from Sucker Punch, Brian Butler, Brian Hamper, Chris Creech. Those guys are always looking out, man, doing their best job. And, I'm, and one thing, even after I get cut out the UFC, for the last time, they still keep me in. They still look for fights. They try to find me a home. We went through a couple of different things where they was trying to work out deals for me. Just some of the stuff never happened. But ultimately, they got me on this show on The Ultimate Fighter that I was able to win. So, no, man, I love those guys and thankful for those guys.
Kurt, you're a veteran of the sport, been around a long time. You're 37, correct?
37 today.
37 today?
Yep.
Oh, happy birthday, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Hey, so you're 37 today. How do and you've been cut from the UFC, you worked your way back. At 37 years old, how do you continue to evolve as a fighter to make sure that next time the UFC won't have to make that decision to cut you? You're here to stay.
I think just getting being smart, training hard every day, doing what I've been doing since I got released from the UFC, right? So I think I'm a little bit different than your average person, right? Because 37, you would think, okay, well, that you're starting to get old in fight years, which yeah, I might be, but I still feel like at 37, with me, I feel like I'm in my prime. I wasn't able to get it done at 27, but all of a sudden I come back to the UFC at 37 and I'm able to get it done against guys who are probably better than I fought at 27. So I don't know, man. I kind of feel like I'm that road, Yoel Romero type that, is, I don't look 37, I don't think. I think I still look decently younger than that. So I think I still got quite a many fights left, man, and a couple more years on my body to be able to fight. I feel good. I feel like I can still wake up every day, go to the gym, train with all of my guys, and as long as I can do that, then I feel good about fighting and hopefully trying to make it to the top, man. That's my goal. I'm not satisfied with just being back in the UFC. I've already been there, done that too many times. Now I want a number by my name and I want to start working my way up for the belt.
Kurt, I'm going to ask you a couple more fun questions, then we'll let you get out of here. What is your dream fight in the UFC? If you look at your entire division, now, mind you, it might be the most stacked division in the UFC. That maybe there's a few of them, but lightweight is up there. Looking at everybody in that division, who is a dream fight where you're like, me and that guy would be a great fight?
You know, about 10 years ago, my dream fight was Joe Lozon. You know, and I've went on record. I've done many interviews saying my dream fight was Joe Lozon. I would love to fight Joe Lozon. So that's still a fun fight that I think makes sense, right? Because I think we could still be right around the same age. Of course, he's been in UFC for a long time, but you know, right now, I gotta go with Patty, man. I think the Patty fight, man, he's such a huge superstar right now, and I'm calling for that fight. So as of right now, that's my dream fight.
Man, you and 10 others.
I know, but hey, 10 others ain't the Ultimate Fighter season 31 winner. So hopefully, I got a
Hey,
little bit of pull on that.
that's facts. That's facts. That's spitting facts right there. I have to give you that one. Not the other, the 9-10 other fighters aren't the winner of the season 31. So I got to give you that one. Football's coming back. You got a favorite football team? New Orleans Saints.
New Orleans Saints, man, on both. So yeah, man, Saints is my team.
How do you think they do this?
Man, actually, I'm excited about this year. To be honest, I really am. I think we got a really good team. I'm hoping, you know, our coach can do a good job this year. So if that happens, I think we're going to be okay. To be honest with you, I started watching football. I want to say back in 1996 was my first football game watching. Of course, my parents were Saints fans, stuff like that. So automatically, I become a Saints fan. I've been a hardcore Saints fan ever since. So I've been through the horrible times with the Saints, and then we got Drew Brees, and I've been through the best times with the Saints. So now this is a new era. Derek Carr, but you know, we got Alvin Kamara, Jamal Williams, Michael Thomas, Chris Olave. We got a solid defense. So if Dennis Allen can do his job this year, I think we're good.
As a Raider fan, I'm going to tell you, you can have Derek Carr.
Hey, okay. Thank you. I appreciate you. I think he's gonna. It's all about the system. I think he's gonna fit in the system just fine.
I think he will do better in New Orleans. I think just their culture and everything they got going on over there is going to be better for him. Favorite post-fight meal?
Oh, favorite post-fight meal. A good pasta.
Favorite submission?
Guillotine.
Favorite post-fight drink? Just put it up, man.
Corona.
Oh, it is Corona. It's not the purple haze.
Well, most of the time they don't have purple haze wherever I'm fighting at, so I gotta settle for Corona or Modelo. So normally I hit my Mexican beer after a fight.
What's your favorite fight you've ever had in your entire career?
Probably Jason Knight.
Nice. Kurt, I want to thank you for doing this interview. It was so nice to finally catch up with you. The last 30 seconds is yours. Tell anyone where they can find you on social media, any shout outs, sponsors, anything you want to, tell the people.
Yeah, for sure. Everybody can follow me at Kurt the Herd Holobaugh on Instagram. Check out my podcast, The Contender and the Pretenders, on YouTube. My sponsor, Hatchet Industries, Covington Power Sports, Creole Tomato. Those guys help me out a lot. And my team, Grace United Team, Juke House South. Appreciate you guys.
Season 31 Ultimate Fighter winner. Happy birthday, by the way. Kurt Holobaugh, ladies and gentlemen.